And I'm really honored to be here with you in this moment is so, so special. So welcome, welcome. I invite you to get comfy. I know folks are coming into the room, getting here. Maybe you're in a chair. Maybe you're on the floor, on pillows, on the couch. I think we've got all ages here. The last workshop that I facilitated in person was in a fourth grade classroom. It was my son was there, and that circle of 9-year-olds was amazing. I hope we've got some fourth graders in the house. I hope we've got all grades and all ages. So I just want to welcome each and every one of you here into this window of time. I'm going to invite us to take a couple breaths, no matter what age you are. It's a balloon breath that I think we love it at all ages. When we breathe in, lifting our arms up, and breathing out, letting them come back down like a balloon. So as we're landing into this space, I invite us all to take a breath together, breathing in, letting it go. And another breath together. Letting it go. And one more breath together in. Letting it go. And just landing your balloon right down into this space together. So as we take this window of time, I want to invite you to notice what the world is that you're coming from into this space. And when I was with those fourth graders, I asked them, I said, even though it's 8:30 in the morning, this day is young, but you've been through things. What have you been through? What has this morning been like? And I asked them to show me with their body, like, if up here, all the way up here is the hardest, most stressful morning it's been, or maybe in the middle, or maybe it's been easy. And I asked them, show me what it's been like if you want to. And they showed me, those 9-year-olds were carrying a lot. And that was before the pandemic. So right now, as we arrive into this room together, I want to just invite us all to notice what is it that we're bringing? What world are we carrying into this space? Like even maybe in the last 10 minutes, was it stressful? Just trying to find the link or wondering if it's going to work? Or what was it like this morning? And if you could show me with your hand. I can't see you, but maybe you're in a circle of family members. Go ahead, or maybe you're alone. Just show yourself with your body. Are you up here in terms of the stress of the world you're coming from, or maybe in the middle, or maybe it's been smooth today? And I invite you to think about this week. What has it been like? Has there been maybe some tough moments? No matter what age you are, there are stressful things about what we're each handling right now. And if you think back to maybe there was a tough moment, maybe you had to hold it inside, what would it look like if you could just let it out right now? I'm going to invite us to make a statue, if you wish, if you feel like doing it. Just notice a tough moment, and what would it look like? Is it like that? Is it like, oh, or maybe it's just, oh, what is your statue look like? So if you have, as we're all arriving into this moment, if you have maybe some tough moment that you can tap into, and go ahead at the count of 3, let's make a sculpture. 1, 2, 3. Maybe there's a noise that goes with it. Let it out and take a breath. And I invite us just to let that melt. I have a wish for this hour together, and that is that it could really be like a mini window between worlds, like a window from that world of whatever you are carrying right now as a human being, whatever's hard about that we can hold that space, honor it, and that we can also create a path forward to that world, whatever world you want to have in your body, the world you want to have in your family, in this community, we're actually going to get to create something, a piece of art that maybe shares what those worlds are. So here's my tough spots. When they come up, they kind of look like this. It says fear, but there's a whole lot of other words tangled in there. And then what do I wish to go toward? I wrote clear. And you know, each moment when that comes up, it's hard. It's hard to make that shift. And so these are little circles of the things that help me to be able to turn this over. Like even just noticing my feet on the ground. Let me notice my feet on the ground. I welcome you to do so as well. Can you feel them on the ground? And just take a breath. It might seem so simple, but amazing. When you're actually a little stressed out, just notice those feet. This one says breathe. So there's all kinds of tools that help me. And so my wish is that today, this time together, that it can really be like a mini window between worlds for you. So I know that we shared our sculptures, our statues. We couldn't see each other, but we can see each other through a poll. So I'm inviting us to take a moment and just notice this poll. If you can go ahead and place yourself on there. Where would you be? Where has this week, where in your life, your world right now, that world that you want to move from, if this hour is going to carry you from somewhere, what is it carrying you from? And just go ahead and respond to the poll. And as you do that, as you place yourself on there, I'm also going to welcome us to use the chat. So at the bottom, you can actually go ahead and write any words. What is that? What is the world like? In mine, I wrote fear. I also wrote a whole bunch of other words in there too, and I'm welcoming you. Oh, excited to make a touchstone. All right. And other thoughts. What is the world you're coming from this week? Maybe that tough moment that you thought of as we stretched and relaxed and landed together in this room. Go ahead and share. So I noticed some folks have been feeling pretty good today. Feeling pretty good. Feeling in between. And we'll just take a few more moments just to notice if there's any. Oh, I see some hands. And I welcome us to breathe and notice, what is the world that I'm coming from right now at this time in my life? And share in any way you like. Some folks pretty tough. Yeah, good. Yeah, so excited for the workshop. Yes, I'm excited as well. Yeah. Some of us in between. All right. So we can keep on sharing and keep on using the poll, keep on noticing any words of what it's been like in our lives right now. And I'm going to invite us to dive in. So as we create together, we are in a circle. We're not in a circle in a room, but we're in a circle in spirit, each creating. And you're part of a circle of a window between worlds is actually 40,000, just about 40,000 people of all ages who are using art as a window of change in the crisis situations and the challenges that they're facing, the challenges facing trauma surrounding issues of domestic violence and abuse, in all kinds of settings, facing issues of houselessness, situations of all kinds of stresses, and these stresses that can be coming from inside and coming from the world around us, and using art as that window, that way of creating something that helps you in those toughest moments to be able to ground, to be able to remember what helps you. And the beautiful, beautiful thing about this circle is that each person is really inventing their own path and inventing their own way that they want to use that. And so I'm going to welcome us to first start by inventing with our breaths. We did our balloon breaths at the beginning, and I'm going to invite us now to just try taking 3 breaths, one for the past, one for the present, and one for the future. And so with our breaths, just inviting a breath in together, breathing in for the past, letting it in, letting it go. And now inviting a breath to just notice that we're here together, breathing in, letting it go. And now a breath for any wishes that we want to carry forward from this time together. Breathing in and letting go. Beautiful. And so just with our breath, just with our bodies, in any moment, we can actually pause and take a breath to release whatever has crept in there that we want to let go. And we can take a breath to get grounded in right now. And we can take a breath for the path forward that we wish for. And that is what we're doing with the art. That is really, with each piece of art, it's really like that little window of time in whatever way that can carry us forward. And so today we'll be exploring one workshop, the We Rise Touchstones. But I am sharing this workshop is one of a series of beautiful windows of time that you can access. They're in English and they're in Spanish. And when this pandemic came upon us, A Window Between Worlds wanted to make these accessible to everyone. So you can access them, you can print them if you have a printer, you can look at them and just create with whatever supplies you have. Some of these workshops are an opportunity to create art that's exploring what helps you feel safe. So this one is Safe Home. And what does that look like for you? And this community agreements, creating safety by actually communicating what we need from each other. Some of the workshops are exploring what are my needs, what are your needs. When we're under stress, it can be very hard to even remember. And so this workshop, this first one is called Personal Needs Flower. And each petal representing a need, inviting a way to remember. And actually this other workshop, Take a Break, Self-Regulate, is a workshop where you create a spinner that, again, in those moments when you're most stressed out, what is your way back? What is the tool that you can use for self-grounding? So this is a piece of art that you can actually spin and choose a way, something that helps you to self-regulate. Another part of this series is tapping into gratitude. And even in the tiniest way, when we're in a difficult situation, to make that a tiny shift to focusing on even a small piece of gratitude can be like a domino effect that shifts everything. And treasure boxes is an invitation to notice, with so much changing right now, just to notice what is most important to me. And that can be very grounding. Some of the workshops invite us to connecting with who we are. So who we are on the inside and outside, maybe 2 different things. Who is that person that is deep inside, and who is that person that others see? Exploring that and sharing, if you wish, with others. The coat of arms is who we are as a family. So an opportunity to explore that. Some of the workshops invite us to listen to our heart, so heart stories. And My Time, where you create your own clock without numbers. Instead of numbers, what would you put on your clock? Noticing and focusing in, holding how we want to actually spend our time. Some of the workshops really address overcoming challenges. And so here the lotus flower, lotuses, they grow out of the mud, out of the murky waters. And this workshop invites us to notice what are the challenges and what is the strength and beauty that we are growing out of that. And Positive Piggies is a workshop that invites us to create something instead of a money piggy bank. It's a different kind of piggy bank that we can reach into during times of stress, and we can put messages in there. These are the messages that we want to hold in our hearts and tell ourselves when we're in those tough moments, because in those tough moments, those are the hardest time to remember. So it's like a little piggy bank for yourself. And the workshop that we are creating today, We Rise Touchstones. So there you see, and here's my sample. With this workshop, I'm going to share how this workshop began, because it began almost 30 years ago when I began working with domestic violence survivors. And at one of the shelters, we did a workshop. And one of the participants who was facing so many challenges and so much trauma and stress in what she was navigating, she created. But it was when I went back 2 years later, and at that time, she actually had become part of the staff of that shelter, and she greeted me, and she had a car. She took me to her car, and she said, "Look." And she had the art that she had created. She had it hanging from her rearview mirror, and she had kept it there for 2 years. She kept it there because in all of the stress and the impossible challenges that she was facing, her art helped ground her in what she was going from, and then remembering what she's going toward, like a little compass. And so seeing her using her art in that way over time, I realized that it's very powerful when we create something. It's not just this creation, but it's the journey of actually using it over time, of deciding where we want to keep it, where it's going to be that resource for us. And it's that journey through the moments when we feel like we are blowing it and we are so far away from where we're aiming, to have this way to keep remembering and adding into it those tools along the road that help us along the way. And so this workshop began with her. Her name is Betty. And I was facilitating this workshop a year ago with 5th graders. And I invited them to share who is it that you really want to become, and to create their stone, and then to think the challenge here is to remember this in the hardest moments. And so it's a practice. It's not perfection. It's trying again to remember the moments when we're forgetting. And so I invited those kids to write 2 dates on the back. One date for today, and then one date for sometime in the future. How do you want to use the stone? How long do you want to practice this? You get to decide how you want to use it. Is it one day? Is it a week? Is it a year? And as I walked around the room and took photos, I came to one boy, and he had written 2088 on his stone. And I said, "Wow, Malachi, tell me about this." And he said, "I'm going to be 80. In 2088, I'll be 80. I want to practice this until I'm 80. And I loved his clarity and his plan. And I share that because today I invite you to create whatever is going to be a tool and a resource for you. So you may have this actual worksheet that's right here. You may have that printed out. You may not. If you just have paper, you may have paper that's sitting around, or you may not even have paper. Maybe you have a Post-it, you have an old envelope, a box of cereal. You can create your touchstone from anything. And you may create it into something that you wear. Like here with this one, I took the paper and I coated it with tape. I used tape and I covered it, and then I trimmed the tape, and I poked a hole, and I put it on some string. You may do that, or you may do something else. Who knows? Here's some touchstones that are rocks in a garden. So any supplies you have are fine. What you create today may be just the beginning. You may sketch and draw, and you may create all kinds of touchstones for your journey. The journey is up to you. So I invite us now to settle into our journey. This is going to be your window of time. So maybe you take off the hat of all the stuff I just shared. Ooh, you can take it off and just take a breath and notice this is your window of time for you. As we do this, I'm going to share a warm-up. I'm going to invite us to create, again, whatever supplies. I'm going to invite us to reflect a bit. But through all of this, what's the most important is you do you. You don't have to follow what I say. It's an invitation. You may want to try it out. You may not. The most important thing is to check in with you and honor what you need. And I mean this. If what you need is to lay on the floor or just put your head down and just breathe and take a break, that is your window of time. The only job is for you to honor you. And because each of our journeys is so unique, I want to share a video of some of that 40,000, that circle of 40,000, this circle of window between worlds, some of these folks and voices welcoming you into this journey of We Rise Touchstones. So here's the video.
Me levanto del dolor del trauma. I rise from the pain of trauma.
I rise from fear.
我来自于孤单和伤心。I rise from loneliness and sadness.
I rise from darkness, feeling anger, lost, feeling deserted, closed in, broken down, and alone.
我来自于不耐烦。I rise from impatience.
I rise from my dreams being blocked.
我来自于混乱。I rise from chaos.
I rise from self-doubt.
나는 버려짐에서 일어난다. I rise from abandonment.
I rise from trauma.
I rise from holding myself back because of fear and from my past failures. I can rise through anything.
Me levanto hacia la sanación de mi corazón. I rise toward healing my heart.
I rise toward love.
我往放松和平静走。I rise toward relaxation and calmness.
I rise toward persevering and staying humble.
我往开放的心态走。I rise towards open-mindedness.
I rise towards my dreams, never giving up.
我往平静走。I rise towards calm.
I rise toward self-confidence.
나는 연결됨을 향하고 있다. I am rising towards connection.
Love, kindness, happiness.
I rise towards knowing that it's okay to fail as long as I get back up. Fight, be bold.
I hope you find it useful.
Try it. You might like it.
We will rise together.
Plant a seed of change.
So, thank you to each of those voices, young and old. And now I'm going to invite us into our own journey, and we'll play a little music. But I want to just tell you, you may sit there and you may think, I'm not going to create anything, or I don't know what's going to come to my mind. And I'm just going to share what you create right now is probably different than what you would have created an hour ago, what you would have created a day ago. I invite you to just welcome this moment, whatever comes out. And you may scribble so hard you break a hole in the paper. That's just right. You may just lay down, like I said, just welcoming this window of time for you. So I invite you to just welcome that courage in yourself to really honor whatever comes to you. So to warm up, I invite us to close our eyes, or you could leave them open, whatever you wish. And just take a nice deep breath and let it go. Maybe another breath in and out. And as you breathe deep, notice that this is your window of time. It's separate from the rest of this hour, separate from the rest of this day. A window of time just to honor you, separate from the rest of this week and separate from this whole pandemic. A window of time to listen to whatever it is that you need and that you feel. And as you welcome each breath and notice your body, I invite you to see if there's any part of you that needs to stretch or maybe wiggle. Maybe welcome in some wiggles. If you notice that world that you're coming from, are there any wiggles to shake it out? If there's anything that's been difficult or stressful, see if you can give that some wiggles and shakes, and take a moment to notice in your body, what is it that I want to move toward? Notice any thoughts that come to mind. And see if you can honor whatever comes to mind, even if it seems silly or makes no sense, or especially if it seems impossible. Be brave to hold those thoughts, honor what comes to you. And I invite you to notice, is there a color? Is there a color for what you're going from and what you're going toward? One color or many colors? Is there one word or many? Maybe nothing comes to mind at all, and that is just fine. You can just breathe as long as you wish. And whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes and you can begin to create whatever comes to you. What is your from? Even if it's just a hole through the paper, or a scribble, or one little line, or one word, let out whatever comes to you. And I invite you to try to put aside, if any critical thoughts come to mind, just send them away. Let yourself put whatever you want for your from. We'll create for about 10 minutes, and I'll let you know when we're halfway. So if you're deep into the from, maybe you'll take a moment and shift gears to the toward. And as you draw, as you write, as you welcome whatever comes to you, I invite you to keep noticing your breath and keep breathing out any stress. If there's any stress that creeps back in there, just breathe it out and let it go. Let yourself just play. And you can move from the from to the toward or back and forth between the two whenever you feel ready. And we're about halfway. So I invite you to just take a breath. If you're transitioning from one to the other, take a breath and let go of that from. Let it go. And take a moment to notice, what do I want to move toward? How does it feel in my body? What do I want to move toward in my family? What do I want to move toward in the tough moments? Are there any shapes, colors? Is it scribbles? Is it swirls? Is it dark? Is it light? Is it colored? Many colors swirling? Is it very plain and simple? What comes to you? And just remember, it doesn't matter what it looks like. All that matters is giving yourself the freedom to let whatever comes out of you, to honor it. And again, if you notice any self-critical thoughts creeping into your mind, send them away. See if you can just take a breath and blow them out with your breath and let yourself play with it. What is the world I want to go toward? No right or wrong. Don't worry about possible or impossible. Trust whatever comes to you. The shapes, colors. We'll take a few more minutes for creating. So you can keep on going with colors, words, anything you wish. And if you feel like you already have your from, you have your toward, if you feel like you might want to notice some of the tools and resources that carry you, that help you, that ground you in the toughest moments, even the simplest things, go ahead and begin to create any of the little circles. And you don't have to. These can be blank. You can leave them blank for the journey ahead. You can discover your way along, but if you feel ready, go ahead and trust whatever comes to you. And what are your tools that help you the most? And we'll take another minute just for your window of time. If you feel done creating, you might want to just take a minute to stretch your body, to breathe. Maybe look at what you've created. Notice if there are any more words that go with it. If you want to do a little journaling, what does your touchstone mean to you? If you were going to put it into words, what is your wish? And take a moment to write that. And so I'm going to invite us back together. You may still be creating, and maybe what you've created is just a beginning. So you can keep creating all week long, all month long as you wish. And maybe what you've created is like a sketch, and you're going to create more, or you're going to create it onto stones. Who knows where this path will lead you? So you do not need to be finished. But I want to invite us to pause and just reflect for a moment. Just reflect and take a moment to notice how did this feel, taking this little window of time? Maybe it felt scary. Maybe it's hard to stop and slow down. Maybe it's hard to notice. Maybe we draw a blank when we try to think, where am I going from or toward? So what did this feel like? To take a window of time and just honor what comes to you. And then what did it feel like to create? What did you create? What does it actually mean to you? Sometimes we don't know. Someone, I think last week, said, is it okay if I don't know why I made this or what I'm going to do with this? I trusted my heart, and this is what came to me, and I said yes, and bravo, yay, hooray for trusting whatever came out. and you get to just honor it, and the path forward may teach you what it means to you and how you want to use it. So as you think about what did I create and how do I wish to use it, maybe you don't know, but maybe you do. Maybe you have an idea. So who knows? So just think for a moment. And like I said, you may be still in the middle of creating. But notice any thoughts that come to mind. And then just as we did in the beginning, we took a window of time to notice, what am I going from? And then what am I moving towards? So now in the chat, I want to invite us. Maybe you wrote down some words. If you so choose, if you would like, I invite you to share them with all of us. And sometimes sharing something out loud is a way to almost hold it, like hold it and plant that seed. And sometimes it's important to just keep it inside, like maybe your touchstone is something you want to keep under your pillow, or maybe it's something you keep in your journal, or maybe it's something you want to share. Maybe it's something you want to even wear, like this. I can wear my touchstone, or if I want to keep it private, I can hide it and just know it's there, like a like I think the superheroes, sometimes they have their disguise under their clothes, so that can be underneath. So you may want to share, you may want to keep it more private, but I invite you, if you wish, to go ahead and share in the chat. Is there a word? What are you going toward? Maybe you have your whole family with you, or roommates. Maybe share with each other. Maybe hold that space of witnessing and being a support to each other. So as you think about what your toward is, and what your window between worlds is, I want to bring us back again to the fact that actually the art here is not really this piece of paper. The art is actually the journey. It's that moment when I'm losing my way, and it happens every day. I mean, in little ways and big ways, when I'm losing my way, and I maybe remember to use this. And I maybe remember, let me release that sense of trauma. Let me release that stress response that's got my brain frozen. And let me practice getting present. And let me practice remembering, what am I going toward? It's that practice. The art is the journey. Like Betty, her journey for that 2 years, having it in her car. That is the art. The art is your own journey. And it's the journey of all of us, supporting each other and holding this space for each other. And the journey is Malachi for his plan until he's 80 years old. It's that seed that we're planting. So I invite you to remember that that's the journey, and it's not about being perfect. It's not about, okay, now that I made this, I'm in this world and it's done. Or like, that doesn't do anything. This piece of paper doesn't do anything. No, it's about having a tool that can help us remember. Because really, when we become ungrounded, the first thing we lose, and this is about our brains, this is how our brains work. The first thing we lose when we become ungrounded is the ability to remember what helps us, even the most basic things. So this art is a resource that you can create for yourself, because the stress will make you forget. But each time you practice, even if it feels like, this can't possibly make a difference, maybe it makes just that much difference. And each time you do it, it's building new pathways in our brains. Each time we practice that ability to say, I notice I'm actually in this place. And I don't have to feel ashamed about it. I don't have to feel critical of myself. I don't have to beat myself up for it. I can notice I'm here. I may be here for a whole lot of reasons. Maybe something triggered this. Maybe there's conditions that have hurt me, have harmed me, and I'm in this place. I don't have to blame myself. But what am I going to do? What is my tool that I want to practice in this space? And so to actually use this art to make that journey. So I invite you to your journey, and I invite us also to remember that this workshop that we have, this is one workshop, but you're actually welcomed to use any of these. Maybe one of these workshops sparked an idea, and maybe you want to run with it. Maybe you want to take all these ideas, maybe you can print them out and keep them in your kitchen, and maybe in a moment, maybe the family can do one together and share. So you can use these in any way that you wish. And like I said, they're in English and in Spanish. If you happen to translate them into another language, let us know and we can share them with everyone as well. So these are all invitations to use in your very own way, on your very own journey in creating change. So we are really each creating this circle, this window between worlds together. And so I want to share this picture again. You know, this picture I shared that it's 40,000 women and children and men and all different ages using art in their very own ways, and each one of them is like an inventor of this window. And each one of you, whatever you made today, even if it's like what I made today is I made my from is these little lines of what I feel like when I'm feeling stress, and what is my toward. Whatever you made, it is that act of actually remembering it and coming back to it. You are inventing change with your body that ripples out. It ripples out and it touches those around you. If I can actually remember to go from here to here with my boys, the mirror neurons in my brain, like it changes my brain, and they have mirror neurons without even any language. My boys, they know what I'm feeling even before I know what I'm feeling. So when I practice my window between worlds, it actually ripples out into their bodies as well. And it ripples out into all of us, into our interactions, and into the community we're creating, the strength that we are bringing to this moment to create change in our world. This is a moment where so much is changing, and we have an opportunity. And again, I'm speaking to all ages. The ability to know that what we do, for Malachi to know that what he does, what he creates, what he practices, that is going to ripple out and change the world. The ability to create an image of even the world we're in right now and the world we want to see, how different it is, to have something to hold on to for the moments when we get lost, maybe when we're in danger. That's what this circle of 40,000 individuals that are part of Window Between Worlds are doing, and facing real danger, physical and emotional. And we are all facing that in our communities in many, many different ways and layers. And our ability to bring our clarity and strength to the change we're creating, whether it is in our hearts, in our families, our communities, and our systems, I wish for us to each invent and have this resource to use on the path forward. So because this is a journey, because this is something that really is not done today, but it is just a beginning today, I am so excited to be able to welcome you back, to circle back and have a share back where we can come together. And this will be in Zoom. So there's a link that you can sign up, and you can actually come into the Zoom room and we can actually share together. And so this is like 2 weeks from now. It's Sunday, so 2 weeks and a day. And I invite you to challenge yourself to use your touchstone over this time, over these days, over these weeks, and actually sign up and come back together. And just by knowing that we're coming back together, it may inspire all of us to actually use and practice and know we can share back maybe the hard moments, we can share back what we discovered. You might sign up and then you might 2 weeks from now say, oh, I forgot all about it. No worries. I mean, sometimes in a day, even though I've been using touchstones for a while, to remember my touchstone it's a journey through my brain out of that kind of stress space back into the vision and the strength and the connection. So I welcome you back May 24th. And if you may notice, it also says mini training. And that is because I invite all of you to use this, to lead touchstones in whatever way will serve the changes that you're trying to make happen. And I mean all of us again. I mean all ages. We are leaders. We are leaders, and anyone, any part of a family can say, hey, I want to lead touchstones for our family. I want us to make one even from this moment. This, like maybe we had a hard day today. I want to invite us to sit down and each create our from and our toward right now. You know, each time you create touchstones, it's like you're in a different space. Like they say, you can't step into the same river twice because the water has moved by and it's a different river. Same with the touchstones. And each moment you do this, you will notice in a different way, a different layer of your journey. And so any of you could lead this in your family, you could lead it with your friends, and you could lead it in your community and the social justice issues you're working on, transforming trauma, social justice, racial justice. These battles and these transformations are so important. And I invite us to create something that can help us through those tough moments. Because as I said, the moment we become ungrounded, the first thing we lose is that ability to remember even the most basic things that help us. So I invite you back for this share back mini training to brainstorm and to support your journey and use this in any way that you wish. So one more thing about sharing. We can share back in person in the Zoom, and that is beautiful. But I also want to invite us all to share. And I know, the art we create at Window Between Worlds, sometimes it can be pretty private. So you don't have to share. But if you have a desire to share, if you're willing, if it would feel good to you to be witnessed and supported, if it's a step that helps reinforce the journey that you're on, please share and know that I will be looking at each touchstone and I will be cheering you on your journey. And all of us can cheer each other on. And so you see in the middle of the page, share what you do. You can do that at awbw.org, at We Rise LA, at Why We Rise, and be sure to hashtag Window of Time Art, hashtag We Rise 2020, hashtag Why We Rise. And it's the hashtags that enable us to see each other. Some of you may be social media pros. Some of you may be just learning. And with the pandemic, you're learning new things with technology. So I encourage bravery. If it's something that you want to try and you've never done before, ask a friend and share. And just know that we're holding a space of nurturing for these seeds that we're planting here. So that's how to share. At the top, that's the link for the free weekly workshop series. So you'll see that all the workshops that I shared today are there. There's even some brand new ones. And we're releasing 2 more each week. You can even see little Facebook Live videos where different facilitators from Window Between Worlds are sharing about these workshops. So I invite you to use those, enjoy those, lead those, and make it your own journey in any way that's going to serve you. And so this screen will come back at the end in case you needed to write something down and you didn't get a chance to write it down. This screen will come back. But what I wanted to invite us to do in closing is to just come back to our window of time breaths, our window between worlds. And I want to do this because my wish is that this workshop could be something that carries you from wherever that world of whatever challenges you've been carrying and bearing, a window to carry you from that world toward the clarity, toward the vision, what you want to go toward, that this could be that window of time and window between worlds for you, for each of us to hold together, but that we can carry this window between worlds in our bodies each moment. And so I want to close with our window between worlds breaths. Are just 3 breaths. 1 to release the past. And so here you see on the slide, all those are the touchstones that folks made of their past, that they're releasing. This is their from. I rise from. And then on the other side, you see what I'm rising toward. So maybe with what you've created in your hands right now, I just want to invite you, if you wish to close your eyes, feel free. I like to close my eyes. You can do whatever feels good to you. But I invite us into these 3 breaths together. So for the past, for releasing the past, let's take 1 deep breath in and release. Beautiful. And the breath to notice that we are here sharing this moment right now, breathing it in together and letting it go. And now 1 breath for the path forward and the resources that we get to carry on our journey. Breathing in. And letting it go. And I invite you to use that window of time in your body anytime you can to practice it, because the more you practice it when you're feeling okay, the more you can actually remember it in the moments when you need it the most. So thank you so much for journeying together. We rise.